Hi, everyone. Welcome to this session. While I know the title talks about industry, academia, and how we're going to prepare our students for the future, I like the term forge future skills. You know, it's like it has this vision of this workshop where you're sort of hammering things into people. And I was listening to the previous session where the speaker was talking about building saying skills, degrees, that's, that doesn't matter. It's all about competence. It's like, do you know what you're doing? I think that's the bottom line. And I think in the world today, when we're talking about technology changing every, we used to say, till a year ago, we used to say every 6 months, now we say every 6 weeks. So things are really changing fast. How will we prepare our learners? How will industry find the people that they want? On the one hand, we say there are so many people who don't have jobs, but on the other hand, you have people who have jobs but say I don't have people with the right skills. So this is a perennial problem, a little bit more, I think, acute right now because the skills are changing quite fast. Whether it's technology is changing and whether we can call it skills, I mean, that's a debatable point, but can they deliver to what is needed? So I'm actually quite fortunate to have, from my perspective, two very young panelists who are a little more current than I am, which is always very useful when you're talking about things leading to about academia and about the world of the future, of which I think you know way, way more. I just asked Ashok and Shambhavi to introduce themselves just a little bit so that everyone has a little context of where you're coming from.
Hi, I'm Ashok Balasubramanian. Not sure about the young part, but it's been 24 years in the tech industry. Worked across different segments, so had opportunity to work with academia and different fronts, worked with the large-scale IT outsourcing companies, and all the way in the last few years with a startup, interacting with academia and different fronts. And first of all, I'd like to thank Kirti, the amazing work you and Future Skills Prime team are doing in terms of, making this ecosystem great. And thanks for having me on the panel.
Hi, everybody. Myself is Shambhavi. I think the youngest is she. I think everybody agrees here. So I have 10 years of experience into this industry of talent. I've worked with multiple organizations, be it a startup or an MNC. So the topic is quite close to my heart, I would say, that how to bridge this gap, if there is a gap, and if not, then where the problem is. I mean, it's a chicken and egg problem, I think, so where the problem is. So, yeah.
So the briefing that I gave my panelists earlier was that let's not talk about things that are not in our control, because in this industry academia connect conversation, usually you all get into this very intellectualization about government should do this, policy should do that, this should change, that should change. But when I heard, what all Ashok and Shambhavi are doing, I said, share some examples with us about how are we looking at things differently in terms of how we can prepare our learners in colleges better for the work of the future, or is it old wine in new bottle? So Ashok, your view?
I think change is always good, and I think there's been a lot of change. So this space is personal. So I graduated on this end of OMR, on Guindy Engineering College, and I first joined 24 years ago last month with TCS 13 kilometers down the same road. So TCS is thriving, the college is thriving, OMR is thriving, so it means a lot of things are going right? So amazing things are going right. But what has changed? I think that's probably a moment for us to think through what has changed and then how things align to what has changed. So if you look back maybe even 10 years ago, the whole tech industry was more of a back office, a factory kind of model. So we hired by busloads and we trained people for 18 months and people got ready and people worked for a North American or a Western European economy. Things have significantly changed there in two huge dimensions. I think first is the economies, right? So India is now a great economy. So if you look at it, people are servicing the next Zepto or the next great fintech app and so on and so forth. So the consumer and the developer or the IT industry is in India. So the economy is driving from here. And the other aspect, if you look at it, technology has moved away from what used to be a back office. What used to be a management information systems has now come to a front office, right? So these are apps in front of the consumer. It is not something, a dashboard that the board looks every 30 days or so. So two things that have come out which are changing this significantly is one, it has become significantly innovation focused and front office focused. And what that is now bringing out, and which probably we can talk as we go through, I think that linear thinking that says, here is technology, here is a tech company, here is academia, here is a student. That is completely gone. I don't think it is linear, at least for the past few years. It is not. Like blockchain, I think it is democratized and decentralized in so many different ways that I think we now have to think of it as a network of different actors that create this ecosystem. So my biggest takeaway, Kirti, over the last few years has been that, I think the mentality to think away, to say there are only 2-3 actors in this ecosystem, to kind of look at it as a decentralized mechanism.
So I'm just going to ask you to explain that a little bit, because while you're saying it's kind of, come together, can you share an example?
So as an example, if you look at it, right, so take every aspect of it. So earlier, when I started, technology was COBOL. So I was asked to learn COBOL and write a test, and it was a 30-year-old compiler that I had to get from somewhere. So today, if you ask a kid, it's like 3-week-old technology is old enough. So technology is changing so rapidly. So it is not just that one IBM provides that one technology that some super senior learned 20 years ago that has been handed off as Gita or whatever for many, many generations. There's no more. So what my super junior associates knows today or someone in the college knows today, I don't know maybe. And I'm proud to say I don't know. So that has changed. Then think about the customer. We were given like a training for 1 year. So I started my first job at Target, which is a retail store. So doing IT for how stores should look like. And at that point of time, we did not have such stores in India. So someone had to tell a store can be at 200,000 square feet. There is something called a self-checkout. There is something called point of sale. We were taught by that company for 6 months. Today, a developer is building for you and me. And in the kind of tech world that I work, which is significantly startup focused, we have scrap dealers who build websites or who need websites. We have someone who provides elephant safari in Jaipur trying to make bookings out of France. No one needs to teach those. You are the consumer who are going through it. So that model that someone in that billion-dollar organization needs to funnel that non-existent knowledge which is here through to you is not anymore true. The student probably knows, hey, I went on an elephant safari, I know what to do. Or someone is building this feature in Zepto, they're actually building it for me, the student or the kid. They're not going to come and ask a VP of strategy that says, hey, can I build this, then go to next one for 3 months. So that's the way we look at it. And we'll talk about more on tech as well.
So what does that mean, Shambhavi? What does this mean for people who are in college today? Because we're still hearing, you're saying if the gap exists, I know you said that, but for conventional purposes, let's say the gap does exist. So what Ashok is saying in terms of how this is all coming together, what does it mean in terms of how industry can guide, or do they need to guide? I think that is also the question. What do students need to learn to be prepared for this world of the future that they are going to be entering as we speak?
Kirti, I think, everybody has become very aware. If I talk about the 3 segments, academia and the institutions, the students, and the corporates or the people who are giving out jobs in the industry, all 3 segments have become very aware about what they actually want and what they actually want to deliver. So, for example, as Ashok said, I also graduated 10 years back. So that time, Being a pass out, I wasn't really sure, which development skill set should I pick up, or I should take an extra class to learn a Python or a Java or anything. Now, if I talk about the students who are passing out, they are very smart about the technologies, what they're working on. They know in which segment they want to go. In terms of, as an organization, when I look forward to these kind of students walking in, it feels like to do much more for them, to organize workshops, to organize hackathons, to organize those simulations which can provide them a platform where they can upskill themselves, gives them an opportunity, gives them that thrill that, I want to work on this particular platform and I want to leverage that and I want to, participate and get a first position in that. So I think that era of this career development has changed a lot. So I think that is a big change, and it's a good change, I would say, to accept. And this is how it is right now.
Is that what you're seeing when you actually go and look for people? I know you are a small company,
Yes,
but
yes.
you still have to hire people.
Absolutely.
So-
I have to hire a lot of people, guys. Yes, yes. So yes, right now when I start hiring for people from multiple colleges, they're super smart. So I just have to show them the way that this person, okay, this is the job, this needs to be done in this particular tenure, and they are on it. They're thriving for excellence right now. They're thriving for perfection right now, which at times I have to say, dude, stop, okay? So yeah, this is the market right now. I think that's very interesting. And if I could put on, most interesting projects which have come up. For example, if I take example of Google, so they collaborated with Stanford around 6-7 years back, and the product was TensorFlow. It's an open source platform for machine learning right now. And when I started my startup, and that time I got to know, I was like, wow, this product was created by a bunch of students who had this community in Stanford, and they did so well. I was amused, and I was like, I'll start hiring freshers right away with that skill set, and that worked out for me, I think.
So if we were to ask both of you to say some examples, based on what both of you are saying, give us some examples of innovative ways in which industry and academia can come together to release that energy that you're talking about, to collapse that linear thing that you're talking about. So what are some ways other than, yes, I know companies are embedding their courses inside curriculum, and I would be very happy if all that positivity that you're talking about actually exists out there. But I know it's a problem at Future Skills. We are working with so many colleges, and in some colleges, yes, it's very good, but in some, the situation is not that good. But we do want to help them, and we do want industry to come forward and say, how can we collaborate, which works for both sides, for both industry and academia, and the speed of helping them discover what is new and what the skills that they need to learn for the future. So any good ideas for this group out there?
I think the capstone projects are the best projects, I would say. In case you want to learn something, in case you want to explore something, get hands-on on it. It's with every organization. They are giving out capstone projects. And they get a bunch of people who work on that project. They deliver as per accordingly, as per the requirement. And people during the process learn a lot. So, for example, I'll give a small example. So, in my organization, we are trying to build up a product. It's a recruitment product, basically. Now, I interviewed a lot of people. I met with a lot of campus placement committees. I called them. I understood. I'm so sorry for the bad throat, guys. So, I met up with a lot of students, and I got 10 people who were really interested in building a product. And apart from that, they had that entrepreneurial mindset, they had that thrive, they had that ownership that I want to own this project and I want to deliver it as per the expectations, or maybe more than that. So I was not actually looking for the skill set, that was secondary. The first was the thrive thing. So those 10 students got an opportunity to work on that project. We have an MVP ready, and trust me, that's brilliant what they have created. So yeah, this is how it works, and I think the thrive is the most important thing for anybody to learn. It comes before capstone projects or any projects you work on. So, yeah.
And what I take away from that is it's a real project. Many people are working on it. Some will succeed, but that in itself is a learning.
Yes,
Ashok?
absolutely.
No, absolutely. I think great examples. I think you touched upon great things. I think you said students are smart, which is absolutely, I think the kids these days know a lot more than, or have access to a lot more knowledge than what we had before. So I think the biggest thing is giving access to that, I think, is the biggest thing. Whether you define it as a course or a curriculum, and capstone is a great one. But if you think through on your first question as well, on what defines something that is of a great quality or not, do they have access to this set of enablers, right? So what are the enablers? Today, was it olden days is just Java, COBOL, if you knew it, great. Today there are 1,000 products, maybe every 6 months. What brings 1,000 products to the students? It is not the university, it is not one outsourcing company. It is two things, open source and the cloud. So I think having a good program, so for example, along with Future Skills Prime, we provide 35 capstones on open source capstones where people play with things like TensorFlow to create things. So how can you tap on each slice? Can you take open source, build something? Can you work on the cloud? What took someone to actually go to an outsourcer to get access to a mainframe? People can do it on a tablet, on their phone, on a large LLM today, which is very likely open source also. So this side intersection, if you look at it, is all capstones, hackathons, makeathons. Then the other side, if you look at the enterprise side of it, the consumer, like I said, is already there. Then who else is the biggest disruptor today? It's the startups. So having startups in the mix. So you just can't say an enterprise comes and says, I give a course to the university, I'm done, and they come back. By the time the student goes to university, I'm pretty sure the customer of the enterprise has changed the requirement. So that's the situation that the world is in. So they should look at a scenario that says, hey, let me create a center of excellence kind of model that says, hey, here are broad use cases. Let me bring everyone together. Let me get you a sandbox with open source. Let me get you a sandbox with cloud. Let's co-create on some ideas. Maybe that idea will be for your employment or not. Maybe it won't. And there is a startup who's trying to solve a problem in that area for a consumer in that space. Let me enable both of you to work together. So that way, if you look at it, I think the job role of an enterprise that is sponsoring a university, I think should become more like a mentor. So they guide people to say, hey, I have failed many times before. I'm going to give you an ecosystem where you please experiment, and you fail many times and succeed sometimes, but get ready. Get ready to come do this for me as well. And the role of an academia has become more of a guide, because today, absolutely, it'll be crazy for us to expect a professor to be smarter than a student. It's impossible. I think we should give it up and say, can that person guide, saying, hey, you did this, okay, go to YouTube or go to Future Skills Prime and learn something else. Don't wait for me to teach you. So I think that mentor and guide kind of relationship, balancing these different facets of people who contribute to skill development would make a lot of sense, I would say. And you can create n number of slices based on your budget, based on access. I think academia and the industry can collaborate in n number of ways.
So interesting words that, you use the word thrive, you use the word startup, you use the word open source. So this other big move towards entrepreneurship, building IP, because eventually wealth is created through IP. And are we creating an ecosystem that is going to encourage IP creation or entrepreneurship? Because we need as many job creators. In fact, we need more job creators now than we need people looking for a job. So how does all this actually help in that? Or is there something more we need to do to encourage IP creation, to develop entrepreneurship skills? What do you think, Shambhavi?
I think it's the baseline. Absolutely, we need to do that to create that mindset. I would say it's sort of a, when the students start attending these kind of sessions, these kind of networking events, organizations allow academia and the students to join multiple networking and technology sessions. So that sort of becomes a cross-pollination of, the experience, technology, and the research coming in. So it's a very good mix-up of, for a person to understand and grab that opportunity, that yes, I can get all this at one place and understand and make my mindset accordingly. So, firstly, yes, the person, as I mentioned in the starting, the people are really smart these days. So that is the first step they've already taken towards entrepreneurship, or that mindset shift, I would say. And that is the initial step that we need to take, because there are a lot of people who scare away from that step, that, we need a stable job right now, and we just get campus placed in that, and then we're going to change job in next 2-3 years and do the regular stuff. But then if you have that confidence that yes, I can build something new, I can build something different, and it can be used in the industry and change something, even 0.1%, I think we should always take a shot with that. And for that, I think we need to attend more networking sessions. We need to meet more people like that. We need to understand their mindset, what they are trying to do, and what they thought when they started their venture. So I think this will gradually, it's not an overnight journey, I would say. It will take time, but then the shift has already started coming in, I would say that.
So who's taking this initiative to make these events happen? Is it academia, or is it industry coming forward? Or because they don't just happen magically. So what will make it happen?
I think nasscom has been a brilliant platform for us.
Dal diya nasscom ke upar.
No, genuinely, I mean, when I look forward to Future Skills, and when I look forward to nasscom, I'm a part of DSCI as well. These, I mean, you guys have done a great job for us, for bringing a lot of people at the same place where we can sit and interact.
Actually, I was asking about the students, because if we're talking about this whole IP creation and, this desire for entrepreneurship, where are they attending these sessions? How are they getting to know?
So, Kirti, there are a lot of organizations which have their programs going on and which are absolutely free of cost in the market. Somebody who wants to learn can absolutely Google. There are Microsoft Champion Cups, there are Google Code Champions, there is IBM internship process. Even, I would say, let's suppose I'm the smallest organization here, I have 30 people in my team. I have the programs going on that, okay, I have this particular project to be delivered. I have it on my website open, that anybody who wants to contribute to this project, please walk in and please take the goodies away. And goodies are really nice, guys, if anybody is listening, okay? So I'm just looking for people who thrive for that. The word is, I mean, the word is very heavy when you actually understand the meaning of it. If you thrive for something, you can easily learn anything from YouTube these days. Future Skills, obviously, it can take you to next level. So obviously try that and then come to me. The chances of shortlisting will get increased. So yes, every organization is having this platform where they're providing this opportunity to the students. They're collaborating with the colleges, and trust me guys, if you make a group, or if you individually have an MVP, if you have a product, if you have any idea in your hand, just reach out to the organizations who are working in that sector. They always entertain. And they would love to have you as a part of their team, so that you can also learn and they can also benefit. It's like...
No, thanks. I think you've given some very practical suggestions, and also the point that the resources are there. You've got to make the effort to go find them, use them. It just won't fall in your lap. Correct. Ashok, in terms of entrepreneurship also, and I know when we had spoken earlier, you had mentioned some very interesting ideas that you've used to create some micro entrepreneurs in your company, the interns that you were talking about.
Absolutely. And just to add, I think it's a phenomenal thing. I think opportunities are there. Yeah. In last 5 years, I've discovered that it's extremely structured in India. There are about 120 large incubators. And every university today has a AIC or a DST. So there is an incubator stationed in every university, which has few crores funding also. And of course, I strongly urge all the enterprises to contribute to it. So there is a strong ecosystem. No student today should be in a position to say, I did not get support for my idea. That's beautifully well oiled. And there are CEOs of incubators at most universities and colleges today, including nasscom 10K startups. We're doing some amazing work there. So access is there. Now it comes to how do you, like the examples that you're talking about, how do you think of entrepreneurship? So entrepreneurship could be anything. Someone could have the next OpenAI kind of idea. But what we are also seeing is that that population is like 1%. What do the 99% do? The beautiful thing that digital is bringing in is inclusion. It gives access to customers to our 140 crore people. And for those few lakh small businesses, it gives access to customers. So great opportunity that we're piloting with multiple universities, what we call Digipreneur, which is where a young student who may not be a full stack developer, because we spend 1.5 years by telling someone you have to be a full stack developer, and the stack changes in 1.5 years. So that person is always on a treadmill. So we say technology should simplify the job, right? If ChatGPT is doing everything, why do we tell people learn for 1.5 years? Maybe you should learn for 1.5 weeks, and technology should do the heavy lifting. So that's the job we do. The technology does the heavy lifting, and we pair it with maybe a single stack developer who knows maybe how to create a UI or how to connect to a database. And we give them a full stack no code platform. And then they work with micro enterprises to say, hey, what can I build for you? What can I build for you? What can I build for you? And that is, again, a very low hanging fruit. So lakhs of small, medium enterprises need digital that is not served by the traditional enterprise digital consulting companies. Now is an amazing market for young students. Instead of waiting for some large company to come and give them a 3.5 lakh year CTC job, this person can actually make 1 lakh per month sitting in college while in college. So that's the power that this digital ecosystem gives them. They can actually, because like I said, the consumer is here, digital is here, you're here. Once you can connect these 3 dots, you're your own boss. Why wait for someone? So a lot of opportunities, Kirti.
No, and I think that's why I liked this example that you gave, because it kind of threaded everything together in terms of the entrepreneurship piece. When you're working with micro MSMEs, it's talking about whether there's some IP being created there. It could be a startup, it could be an existing business. There is the capstone piece, which is coming in the form of an entrepreneurship. So it's bringing real life into the world of the student, saying this world is becoming like that as you're going to get out there. So you feel that reality while you're a student, very safe space. So very interesting way of how we need to look at developing our students why in the future, now, I would say. Shambhavi and Ashok, thank you very much. I know time is up. Do we have time for questions? No? Okay, so we don't, but thank you very much for a very interesting and snappy conversation. I requested you for that, and both of you delivered. Thank you very much. Thank you for being such a lovely audience.
For more content on tech and leadership, subscribe to nasscom YouTube channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.